So mixture, teens, parents, and punk.
One, two, three, four, 1, 2, 3. Come on, Mr. Nice Guy. Come on, Tucker.
Welcome to A Parent's Nightmare. The violence here seems out of control, but there are rules in all this bedlam and they're being enforced. Rule 1, slam dancing and backflips into the crowd are okay as long as no one is intentionally hurt. Rule 2, punks can jump on stage, but they're not allowed to touch singers or equipment. Rule 3, spitting is encouraged. The kids say this isn't violent at all. They say it's controlled aggression. It should be noted that all this activity is incited by music. That's another thing that frightens parents. In fact, this is a local band called Fear. The lyrics are hostile, crude, and the beat is frantic. Tickets to this concert cost $8.50.
It's about living in New York and Philadelphia. About bums laying in snot and puke with flies crawling all over them in the heat of July mornings with 3 or 4 bottles of cheap wine in their gut and the cars running them over and the cops throwing them into the back of the pig wagons with the pitchforks and people rolling them and flies everywhere and drunks on your doorstep and freezing to death in the wintertime. People push in front of the subway, get tuberculosis, millions of queers, like that. This is real communication. Yeah, if you go see jazz, they just sit there and talk. They don't even understand what's going on the bandstand. At least here, everyone's paying attention. They don't all like it, but they're all listening.
Yeah, at least you feel like you're alive for once.
You get the feeling that Fear is putting us on. Their music is satire, grotesque satire, but satire nonetheless. Not much comfort if your kid is young, unsophisticated, and takes the message seriously. That brings us to a parent's worst fear, that their kids will turn out like this.
The theory of life, it's what you believe in.
Punk rock is something that you dedicate yourself to.
Just because we're different, they have a spaz attack. Believe in the anarchy, man. It's going to be the way.
Parents whose worst fears have been realized have turned to a psychologist who's made relations between parents and punks her specialty. She deals with parents and kids who are frightened and hurt. Her name is Serena Dane.
People have this vision of groups of parents getting together and trying to stamp out punk, which is not true. Parents of Punkers is a group of people that get together, discuss ways of coping, of understanding, information, and it also involves the teenagers. It's not just the parents.
Hey, they don't give you 1 ounce of love. If they would even touch you, you know, he'll let me. If I say, Paul, let me hug you or let me kiss you, he will. He'll let me. He doesn't ever return a hug. I mean, you're just hugging a cardboard. He doesn't ever return a kiss. It's a cheek, you know. But that's it. I mean, nothing. Nothing.
It was impossible to talk to him for years. He would either be sleeping or he was out. Or if I try to talk to him, you can't get through. There's no rational thinking.
At the same time, we allow them to explore a lot because that's a very healthy thing for minds to explore, the curiosity. Unfortunately, by the time she had satisfied her curiosity with punk, she became a punk.
Chetch just didn't seem to care about anything and about anyone, and he didn't seem to care about himself. And it just to me seems such a waste.
It's made us like zombies towards each other. I mean, we support each other, but we're drained. You know, we just haven't been, we're so busy trying to figure out what we can do that we have no energy left for each other. You know, we're not blaming each other. You know, we at least got enough support from that through the different groups. It still left us so drained that it just put our relation on a plateau that is, we're like good friends, or friends anyway, not necessarily even good friends.
I wish more parents would call me who wanted to know, to understand, even if their child is not into it, to just have some idea of what might happen, what to look for, so that they're not shocked when their kid comes home with green or orange hair and asked to go to a gig and they don't even know what a gig is. I think that everybody should learn about it because it is something of the 80s. And maybe it'll pass in the 90s, but we're still in the 80s.
Like, what we're trying to do is open their eyes saying, hey, the world's changing. Don't be so narrow-minded. That's what punk's all about.
I left, and then they didn't want me. They didn't want me back because they said I was too out of hand.
Personally, I'd rather die nuclear fallout than chemical warfare. Why don't they attack that? Mustard gas, you turn into a big blister. It's painful. I'd rather die instantly.
She thinks I'm really morbid.
Why?
Because I look dead a lot and things like that. Because I keep dead flowers in my bedroom and stuff.
So she thinks you're kind of embracing the concept of death.
Yeah.
Are you?
Not really, no.
I don't want to bring another human being, another life form into a world that just sucks. This world is terrible.
I would say, yeah, I agree with you. I can't deny that. But let's take a look at what doesn't suck and kind of let them feed off of, you know, a little bit of what I feel is hope and some of the neat things in this world.
This story seems grim, but put it in perspective. In the past, families managed to survive when their kids became hoods, beatniks, or hippies. Each time we thought the kids were insane. Each time it passed. Punk will pass too.
Parents of Punkers receives no community funding or outside assistance. For further information and support, contact Serena.
The other day, someone said, they said something like, Johnny, what's wrong with the youth movement of today? And I said, I am no longer a part of it. So this week, we're going to take a look at today's modern teenagers. You know, the world's getting faster. There are more pressures and anxieties and the choices that they have to make. So this week, we're going to try to help you understand the youth of today and answer the age-old question, what's the matter with those kids today?
How cute, and how proud the parents must be. But oh, what a difference the years make.
Kids, I don't know what's wrong with these kids today.
I'm a punk. I'm dissatisfied with your society, man.
Kids, who can understand anything they say?
It just means individuality.
Kids, they are disobedient, disrespectful oafs, noisy, crazy, sloppy, lazy loafers.
They think I'm like going crazy or something. They try and put me in a mental institute one time, but it didn't work.
While we're on the subject, kids, you can talk and talk till your face is blue.
I think they're more worried about the car. They're all, you didn't get the car back too, like you said, you know. It's like that. It's not really me. I guess they think I can handle myself.
Why can't they be like we were, perfect in every way? What's the matter with kids today?
Every generation asks the same question, and the answer's always the same. Parents worried when bobby-socked kids swooned over a young Frank Sinatra. They worried when a greasy-haired hillbilly brought rock and roll to the kids. They worried when the Beatles brought teenage hysteria to new heights. And when the Woodstock generation arrived, they worried about more than just a new musical style. There was a whole new morality, free love, recreational drugs, and the need for uninhibited self-expression. And that's what this is all about. Back then and today, expressing your own sense of identity.
I don't want to have anybody labeling me or telling me I'm wrong or what to do or how to be. I want to be what I want to be, you know? That's all I'm trying to get across.
So we have a Mohawk, but it doesn't mean that you automatically hate your parents, and they assume that you're rebelling against them. And so these young kids who think, well, I hate my parents, I'm going to become a punk, well, they have the wrong idea. Has nothing to do with your parents.
Well, then what does it have to do with?
It's just a style for me.
I'm not into it because I'm anti-parent, but I'm
anti-system. It's like wearing your mind on your body.
It's also about alienation from society and from the family. It's about anarchy. And of course, it's about music. If you're a parent and your child's a punk, this lifestyle may be hard to accept. But the punks claim that they're really not that bad, only misunderstood and misrepresented by the media. If any comfort can be offered to worried parents, it's this. The punks we talked to didn't feel that what they were doing was any stranger than what their parents went through in their youth.
They seemed to forget that they were young once and had problems with their parents. I'm sure my mother listened to Elvis Presley, and her mother got really mad at her, saying he's vulgar and, you know, don't do this and don't do that. Well, it's coming around again. It's just another change, another expression.
You know, the next thing that we're probably going to see is they're going to end up being just like us. They're going to have a house payment and have to buy their own groceries, and, well, you get the picture. Next, we'll take a look at American propaganda. How much do we know? Lifestyle is kind of an unusual thing. We find ourselves in it before we really know what's going on. In the 40s, it was Frank Sinatra. The 50s brought us the twist and the hula hoop. The 60s meant flower children and free love. And in the 70s, that was disco. But now kids are dyeing their hair and doing a thing called slam dancing, and in general, parents do not understand. Serena Dink is a counselor and the founder of Parents of Punks. But we want to show you, this is the world in which she works. So take a look.
Steal the money from your mother, buy a gun. We destroy the family. Kill your mother and father. We destroy the family. Isn't that nice?
Serena's there to help you, you know, get back with your parents. She's not there to deprogram you. And that's about it.
Serena's helped me a lot. She's made me be more positive towards the world. I mean, I think the world sucked, but before, I used to think I was much, much worse.
She's helped me a lot with my parents. I can talk to my mom a lot more.
It's really helped me with my relationship with my parents.
A slice of life. Many people who are probably watching that would say, I would do this, or I would make those kids do that, or whatever. This is Serena Dink. Serena, how do you communicate with kids that are going through this? Obviously, a lot of parents think that they're absolutely out of control. Are they out of control?
I think it's all in the attitude that I have. One of the things I do is I don't judge them. And people look at me and say, gee, you're not punk, and how can they relate to you? And I think the simplest way, or to explain it, would just say I have feelings for them. They have feelings for me, and it's kind of, I break the stereotype of the adults that are rejecting them. And I encourage parents not to reject them and not to kick them out.
A family is generally on a parallel course. You have a child and their parents, and you go along until somewhere in the teen years, and there seems to be a split, and then we get the old word of communication. How do you communicate once you get to that split time where people either are talking or not listening or not talking? Or
I would think, you know, one of the things to do if you're having trouble communicating is get an outsider. Because what happens is when you're bogged down with all kinds of emotions, you just lose perspective of what's happening within your own family. And someone who comes in and who's non-objective can really help you.
Now this organization, the Parents of Punks, exactly what is that and what do you try to do? What are your objectives?
We're certainly not trying to stamp out punk. Basically, I am the organization. I have no support from the outside world. I started this, and the people that support me are the parents and the kids. People look at us and look at me and say, why are you doing this? And one of the reasons is to bring more understanding. I get calls from parents all over the country, both United States and Canada, and night and day, just asking for information, asking for ways to get their child back home. I get calls from punks who are out on the street and want to go back home. And I think what's happened is people think that this is a national organization to stamp out punk, and it's not.
You know, the media always gets involved in these things and often becomes the whipping person for what is going on. maybe it's understanding. What is, for instance, I have no form or frame of reference. What is the difference between, for instance, punk and, let's say, hippies, which I kind of understood and was one? Is there a correlation between what did happen in those early years and what is happening now?
I would think the only similarities are that it's something that kids turn to. It's something that you could identify by dress. You can certainly tell a punk, and you certainly could tell a hippie. The major difference, I would say, is that there has been more self-violence, whereas the hippies were, on a bandwagon to stop the war, and they wanted the future generations to survive. The message of punk, a lot of it is there is no future. We probably won't survive because of the nuclear bomb.
How do we redirect people, and if we redirect them, where do we redirect them to in terms of focusing their life so they can get more out of it? And if the worst should happen, that, and I hope it does, that they live a nice long time?
I would say, by just keeping a basic positive attitude, and by continually, digging out the positive stuff. And I realize that sometimes it's really hard to find it, but I would think when your child has reached that point where everything seems so negative, that there has to be something that the parent can do or say to the child to show them that there is a positive to our life.
Serena, thank you very much for being with us and sharing a little light on a phenomenon which is in our society right now. By the way, there is a number to call. It's called Parents of Punks, and the number is 493-5081. And we're going to check in with Warren Aldy right now to give us an idea of what's coming up in terms of the news in a few moments. Warren?